Hi Archers! A few updates ago, ARCHERO has made some changes to the new spirit abilities. ARCHERO doesn't really give us many numbers or information, so a lot of the time us ARCHERO players have to figure it out. The spirit abilities weren't that great. They buffed our pets, but the buffs weren't really worth more than abilities that we picked up for our heroes. This has now changed, and the pets abilities now apply buffs to our heroes as well. Credits to the ARCHERO wiki for finding out what these abilities now do. If you need some quick facts about ARCHERO, I recommend jumping on there. You can find the link to the ARCHERO wiki in the description box below. My name is Teeds. Feel free to subscribe and click the bell for more ARCHERO videos. There are 11 abilities in the game. Wingman has always been a strong ability where your pets block projectiles. This has not changed, because it doesn't need a change. Spirit, front arrow, multi-shot, and diagonal arrow seem to not have changed either. Straightforward abilities, just the pet versions of our strong abilities. Now let's get into the good bits. Spirit attack speed boost increases the attack speed of your pets by 20%. They now also increase the attack speed of your hero. It is not known exactly by how much yet, but you can now gain a small attack speed boost from this pet ability. ARCHERO wiki thinks it's around 12% maybe. Spirit crit boost increases your spirit's crit chance by 20%, but it now also increases your hero's crit chance by 5%. Spirit attack boost increases your spirit's damage by 100%, and now increases your hero's damage by 15%. These 3 abilities are available from Chapter 4. Then we have the last 4 abilities, which are all elemental. These abilities are all available from Chapter 8. Spirit Blaze inflicts flames and now increases your hero's attack by 10%. ARCHERO wiki has noted here that the pet flame effect is based on your pet's damage, which is very low, so this ability was pretty bad before. This also goes for the bolt effect and poison effect. Spirit Freeze inflicts a freeze effect and now increases your hero's crit damage by 20%. Spirit's Poison Touch deals poison damage and increases your hero's crit damage again by 20%. Spirit's Bolt ability deals lightning bolt effects and increases your hero's crit chance by 5%. These pet abilities are now so much better. I would say they are better than the front arrow, multi-shot, and diagonal arrow spirit abilities. Not only because they give you buffs, but also because it can make the screen very distracting depending on which pet you're using. I use the laser bat, and those 3 abilities make the screen so distracting, but it could be different if you're using any other pet. But in my opinion, because those 3 abilities do not make a huge difference in your game, I would say the less projectiles, the better, as you can focus more on the enemy projectiles. With these buffs, it is now much easier to stack crit and raw damage for your hero. There are a few more abilities that I would like to talk about as well. Water Walker and Walk Through Walls. I've spoken about Walk Through Walls before, in case you've missed it. Walk Through Walls allows you to walk on the floor spikes without taking damage, so you get an additional benefit for that. Before, these abilities weren't all that worth it. I mean, you could walk through walls and water, which can help in situations, but it wasn't worth the health loss. Both abilities now give you 15% damage to your hero. This makes these abilities much more worth it now, and honestly, I do see myself picking these up more in chapters I am struggling with. I personally find Walk Through Walls better than Water Walker because not only can you walk on the floor spikes, but you can also just hide in the wall to avoid enemy projectiles. Both abilities are very good regardless because you now have more space on the map. This way you can reposition yourself much easier. Water Walker may be better against melee comms where you can walk to the other side, while enemies that chase you that can't fly will have to walk around. These 2 abilities do not counter everything though. Walk Through Walls can still be countered by laser bats and the bees and the bigger bees in chapter 13, and any enemy that can just go through walls. The last 2 abilities are Giant and Dwarf, which unlocks in chapter 13. These abilities I haven't really spoken about because I just wasn't completely sure what they do yet. After doing some runs with these abilities, I can now tell you what they do. So, Giant transforms your hero into a bigger version of yourself. The benefit of Giant is that you gain 40% increased damage. This is a huge increase, but the con to this ability is that your hitbox is now bigger. This means that it's harder to avoid incoming attacks and projectiles. Because you're bigger, you're most likely going to get hit. I personally would only pick this up if I am confident in my ability to dodge attacks from monsters, if I'm farming, or if I find the chapter relatively easy. When you pick up Giant, you're relying on either killing the enemy before they can be a real danger to you, which is where the 40% damage comes in, or you rely on your ability to dodge. It's a risky pickup, but I find it really good for bosses as there are less projectiles because you're focusing on a couple of attacks. Dwarf, on the other hand, does the opposite. It makes your hero smaller, and there are also two benefits. You now have a smaller hitbox, which means enemies have a harder time hitting you, and your crit chance is also increased by 10%. I would say Dwarf is better than Giant because it is safer, and you're less likely to get hit. Some of you have asked what happens if you pick up both. I couldn't keep track of the numbers because I was just playing my run, but I did have Giant first. I then picked up Dwarf and I just returned to normal size. I'm not sure if it cancelled out Giant's benefits. I honestly rarely get these two abilities in the first place, so to have two of them in the same run was pretty bizarre to me. The next time it happens, I will let you know if you still have the benefits of the abilities when picking up both. That is all for the ability changes. I'm now going to show you a quick tier list of the abilities with the added benefits of the pets. If you're not interested in this, feel free to click off. I thank you so much for watching. But if you are, then carry on. My previous tier list placed all the pet abilities together because I wasn't sure what they did, but now that I know, here is a general tier list. If you've seen my previous videos, you may see that I've made some changes to some other abilities as well. Please do keep in mind that this is based on my personal opinion and numbers. You do not have to agree with me. I would say that the best picks are what you enjoy, and tier lists do change depending on the equipment and hero you're using and the chapter you are on. This is just a general tier list that is mostly for players who are still figuring out their ability choices. All the pet abilities were in the situational tier. I put them there because, like I said, I had no idea what they did. I have now placed them according to the buffs that they give to the heroes. You can see that I've placed the Spirit Attack, Ice, and Poison in the above average tier next to the walkthrough abilities. In my opinion on why these abilities are on the same level as these two abilities that can do more for you, without talking about the other two abilities, but the Spirit Attack boost, for example, does not require you to lose health, and you gain 15% increased hero damage. That is the same damage increase as Walk Through Walls and Water Walker without having to lose any health for it, but you don't have that added benefit of being able to just walk through obstacles or on obstacles. I have also played a few runs with the pet abilities, and it honestly made such a difference in my game. I started prioritizing them over the elemental arrows because I like the raw and crit damage increases. So my playstyle is focusing on single target damage with the exception of ricochet and sometimes the lightning arrow. I find that the faster you defeat your target, the less you have to deal with, and that's been working pretty well for me so far. If you archers come across these abilities in your games, try picking them up and see if it makes a difference for your run. I found that it did make a difference for me. I actually have an easier time reaching higher in chapter 13 when I do pick up these abilities. It's also really nice because the pet abilities do drop more often than our high tier abilities that we're always after. Before I leave, I'd like to say, please ARCHERO devs, buff or make changes to the Meteor and Star abilities. That is all for today's video. I hope this has helped you in some way. It is comments time. So this is a new thing that I'm doing where I choose 3 comments from my last video and I reply to them in the video. So thank you, Oliver Quinn. I just finished the last chapter, finally can't wait for the new one. Thanks for the help. Thank you for watching and I'm so glad that it's helped you. iCliff says, needed this, have been stuck on chapter 11 for about a month now. I am very, very happy that this has also helped you as well. A month is a very long time, so I'm very glad that you must have that frustration from chapter 11 gone now. Gary Leatham says, well, I can't go further than 7, but I love the way you say water. So Australians say water very differently. I'm not sure how in other countries, I mean, if your language is not English, then you probably don't say water, but I know Americans say water. I don't know how to say it very well. Can I have a glass of water. Thank you guys for your comments, and thank you to everyone who is watching this video. Please do subscribe and click the bell for more Archero videos. A like and comment would be super rad. Let me know what you guys think about the ability changes and buffs. I hope to see you again for the next one. Bye!